Hello guys, and welcome back to a new video, or welcome if you're new. Firstly, I'm sorry that I am currently in my car, but there was no other option. And also the reflection in my glasses is really annoying, but never mind. But hi if you're new, my name is Holly and I'm a wildlife photographer here in the UK. And I do have my camera today, but we are not going to be doing any photography unless I see something really cool. But the point of today's video is because I am going on a harvest mouse survey. The meeting is just in the car park, so that's what I'm just waiting for. And I'm going to take you guys along with me, and that's the whole video basically. I'm going to talk about harvest mice and what a survey involves as we get started. But for now, I just wanted to do a quick introduction, say hello, and go and find the rest of the group so we can start looking for some harvest mice. Before I start explaining what was happening in the survey, I thought it was important to explain what exactly are harvest mice. So if you're unfamiliar, harvest mice are Britain's smallest rodent. They weigh in between 4 to 6 grams and they are only about 5 to 7 grams long, so they're very teeny tiny little mice. They are a sandy brown golden colour with like a lighter underbelly, and they typically live in tussocks of grass. Or in hedgerows, and they build tightly woven nests from shredded stems and plant material, which is what these surveys are for. And harvest mice do not hibernate, so their survey season is from October through to March. So this was the first survey of the season that I was participating in on this Saturday. And essentially what you're doing is you're searching for a tussock of grass that is big enough for a tennis ball to hide in, because a tennis ball is around roughly the same size as what their nests are. And then you want to separate the tussock and have a look with it and try and find a nest. So that is what was going on these surveys. So this Saturday we hit 2 different sites to see if we can find any harvest mice nests that have previously proven that there was harvest mice there. The first one was unsuccessful in that it had recently been grazed over the summer by ponies and cows, and so all the tussocks were way too short for any harvest mice to build nests in anymore, which doesn't necessarily mean there aren't any harvest mice there. It just means that the cows had essentially eaten all the evidence. But then we moved on to the second site, and on the way there we did see a badger warren, which was quite exciting because you could see the claw marks as to where it had been. And then we got to the second site and started searching. Now the second one was way more likely to have harvest mice in because the tussocks of grass were much deeper, but we started off not very successful. We found some field vole nests which kind of just looked like shredded piles of mush in the tussocks, and then somebody else found a glowworm larvae which I had never seen before, which was pretty cool, before we kept searching through the different tussocks and we got closer to where they had been found last year. That is when we had success this year, and we found 2 different harvest mice nests which you can see in the video, and that was a great result for this survey. But yeah, that is what happened on Saturday. Hello guys, it is now the next morning after my harvest mouse survey yesterday, and it went really well. We found 2 nests, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's any nests are kind of a good sign. But what I realised yesterday is that I didn't get a chance to show you guys how to actually do a survey yourselves. Because harvest mice are not under any kind of protective measures like dormice are, anyone can actually go about finding harvest mice nests and reporting them and recording them for surveys and stuff like that. And here in Devon we have a Devon harvest mouse survey where anyone can report their sightings and like log them. I don't know if it's the same for the rest of the country, but usually if you tell like any local organisations or whatever, whoever owns their land, about a harvest mouse nest, then it's a good sign, and it's good to report them. maybe check your local mammal society because they usually keep track of these things. But essentially, all you need to do a survey is a pair of gloves, because you don't really know what you might find in the grass, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. And there might be like rubbish. Or last summer I did hear of somebody told me that they found an adder in a tussock of grass when they were looking for harvest mice nests. So it's always good to wear gloves. Probably just some that you can get from a gardening centre are good, or I've got like these, I don't know what they're, tough buildery gloves. Anyway, you'll need these, and you'll need a bit of land that has some tussocks of grass in. And if you don't know what a tussock of grass is, I will put up a video and show you what one looks like. But essentially, I am at my local National Trust parkland today, just walking the dog actually. He is over there. But what you want to look for is a tussock of grass that is big enough to hide a tennis ball in. I would show you, but the dog currently has the tennis ball that I was going to use. So you'll just have to picture it. And then what you want to do is separate the grass, or you want to go up to a tussock, you want to kind of separate it with your hands, and you're looking for essentially a small tennis ball sized ball of grass that's all been like threaded together into a nest. And if you kind of see one, then they can be quite obvious, but also they can be slightly hidden. So you want to really check in the tussock all around it before you move on to the next one. But if you do find one, then you can report them into your local mammal society. But you can also, depending on the condition of the nest, you can remove it and keep it for yourselves if you really want to. So if it's green, absolutely do not move it out of the tussock, because that means it's brand new and a mouse is probably going to come back to it. Also, you can kind of tell when they're still being used, and in that case don't move them. But if there is absolutely no signs of mice around, and it's kind of an old-ish looking nest, and I'll put a picture of what one that like that looks like, you can take it out and you can examine it in your hands, and it's really fun to have a look at. And you can even take it home if you want to show your friends, stuff like that. I've got one in a jar at home that I found last year, so that's really cool. But yeah, that is essentially how you go about performing a harvest mouse survey.